I was born 17 years ago. For the past 6 months, I've been in my basement playing Skyrim. But for all those hours, I've never understood what the hell has been going on. I scoured the internet, searching for wikis, to find even the most obscure events in the Elder Scrolls. Behold, sunlight now enters my room. These are the early hours of the morning, and my few moments of free time. Fueled by obscene amounts of caffeine, I search for the events of the Elder Scrolls lore.
Hey, I'm TheLoopyAlchemist, and on this episode of the Elder Scrolls lore, we are going to be digging into the absolute depths of obscure Elder Scrolls nerdiness, because we'll be covering the Akaviri invasions. So, I've of course already covered the time that Tamriel invaded Akavir under the Emperor Uriel Septon V. Now, this, of course, didn't end up going very well, with the expeditionary force being entirely destroyed. This occurred in the Third Era, but Akavir has invaded Tamriel 3 times compared to Tamriel's once for Akavir. So there really isn't too much source material to go on, but I'll still cover it as best I can. So there are 4 nations in Akavir: the Tzeki, the Kamal, the Kapotung, and the Tangmo. Now, one thing I neglected to mention in my Akavir and the Disaster at Ionith episodes, that the name, for example, Tzeki, just refers to the actual nation, not the race. We don't know what the races actually call themselves, partly because we have so little information, we don't know their language, so it's just a convention that we call them what their nation is. So, every time that Akavir has invaded Tamriel, it's been the Tzeki, who are described as vampiric snake people, who apparently ate all the men in Akavir long ago. However, based on what we know from Ghosts in the Pale Pass, and our information on the Akavir in general, it could be possible that when the vampiric snake Tzeki allegedly ate all the men, it could just mean they conquered them, or who knows, they might not even be vampiric snakes at all. If anything, their culture suggests otherwise. Now, the other nations we have in Akavir are the Kamal, which is snow hell, so they're like snow demons, the Tangmo, the Thousand Monkey Isles, who are monkeys, and the Kapotung, which are Tagger people, but we'll only be focusing on the Tzeki. So, they've invaded Tamriel 3 times. So, the first one we have is the invasion of High Rock. So, this is about as early as it gets. We know it's First Era, or possibly earlier, but probably sometime in the First Era. We only have one sentence on what happened in A History of Daggerfall. So, it says, if Daggerfall had not spent its first 1,000 years preparing for the battles of the next 1,000 years, it is indeed conceivable that the Iliac Bay might today be Akavirian. So, yay, one sentence! that is all we have for the first Akaviri invasion, but it does appear that they were repulsed. Well, no, it doesn't appear they were for sure repulsed, but, well, we don't have too much details. I guess it's kind of up to whether or not how much you want to speculate if the Akaviri were just barely repulsed, or if they were defeated handily. At any rate, we still don't know why the Akaviri randomly decided to invade. I don't know for the lulz. Also, when you look at where Akavir is, it kind of seems odd to approach from High Rock, a mountainous area. Like, you'd think you'd go for Morrowind first because... Well, I don't know. Speculate away. One thing that's interesting to point out is that Vivek, a member of the Tribunal in Morrowind, suggested that there would be only 3 Akaviri invasions by the Tzeki, who, quote, "The Tzeki serpents vowed to have their vengeance on the West at least 3 times. Vengeance for what, though? Again, you could really speculate pretty endlessly on this. Maybe some slight in prehistory, which would be either the Merethic or the Dawn eras. So, yeah, it'd be definitely something interesting to go into. So, fortunately, instead of 1 sentence, we have like 3 sentences for the other 2 invasions. So, this is probably the best one we have, like, information-wise, and it is the second Akaviri invasion, and it took place in First Era 2703. So, the Akaviri invade, and by Akaviri I guess I mean Tzeki, who were apparently hunting for the Dragonborn. Yeah. So, they are defeated at the Battle of Pale Pass. The Pale Pass is in northern Cyrodiil, and they were defeated by the Colovian king, Riemann Cyrodiil. And upon their surrender, they actually get recruited into his own forces. And they actually end up forming the Blades. Well, at this point, they're actually called the Dragon Guard, and they become the bodyguards of Riemann Cyrodiil, so the Emperor, and actually end up eventually forming the whole Blades and the spy networks, and that is a different episode entirely. But beyond just that, we also have the profound impact of Akaviri culture on Tamriel, because their military is just so much better than the one in Tamriel. They actually shape the legions as we know them today, introducing strict discipline, the style of armor, and trading, drills, really almost everything. And the modern Blades armor is heavily based in the Akaviri style. Just look at the Akaviri katana. And we also have a few examples of Akaviri architecture as well, including the now destroyed Cloud Ruler Temple in Cyrodiil and the still standing Skyhaven Temple in Skyrim. We also get a magnificent look at Akaviri art in the relief on Elduin's wall. So, the Riemann dynasty, of course, was not to last, thanks to our friends the Morag Taunt. So, when this happens and the dynasty is dead, we have the Akaviri Pontinent taking over. So, the Pontinent was the chief Akaviri advisor to the Emperor, but sort of this ruling board takes over and rules the Emperor, not Emperor, Empire, pretty well apparently, for at least a while. But thanks to our friends the Dark Brotherhood, this ended up not really lasting either. But what did last was the profound impact this had on the Emperor. Again, Empire, not Emperor. Man, I'm getting my words confused tonight. Um, okay, my Englishly challenged tongue aside, yeah, we have the profound effects, and now we are moving on to the third Akaviri invasion. So, with first the Riemann Dynasty, and now the Akaviri Continent gone, we have quite a bit of chaos going on in Tamriel. So, this is the one that actually takes place just before the events of the Elder Scrolls Online, which we'll hopefully get some more details on. So, oh god, there's no way I'm going to pronounce this correctly. Adasum Dir Kamal was an Akaviri general. So, early on I said that I think these are all Tzeki, prophecy or sermon or whatever the heck you want to call it from Vivek suggested that too, but the whole Dur Kamal part makes me think this guy might be one of the snow demons. Again, who knows? We really have no examples of Akaviri names. Also, it's also reported that, like, the Kamal always try to invade the Tangmo, but they melt or thaw out or something or another. So who knows? I'm just saying it could be either, I guess. Or maybe even a mix of the two, but considering the Kamal actually invade the Tzeki on like an annual basis, it doesn't seem likely, so I don't know, draw your own conclusions. So, this was a very devastating invasion. It actually sacked Windhelm and fought the Tribunal, and by fought we mean kicked the living snot out of it, in Morrowind. This happened in Second Era, 575, and it was just barely repulsed. Interestingly enough, it actually led to the rise of the Ebonheart Pact, which is made up of the Nords, the Dunmer, and the Argonians. So, it was that bad that they all had to align themselves together to fight it off. So, yeah, that is all we have for the Akaviri invasions. Again, it's interesting to speculate just how much we actually know about the Akavir and perceive them, because we have the Expeditionary Force getting absolutely annihilated in the Third Era, but again, when you're invading someplace, you're kind of fair game. We have the seemingly random invasion of High Rock, which is the first invasion. So you can't really explain that. We have the second invasion, where the Akaviri are looking for the Dragonborn. Akavir literally translates to Dragonland, so that's kind of weird. And when the Akaviri get into the government of Tamriel, of the Riemann Empire, they do an incredibly good job administrating it, introduce the symbol of the dragon, create the legions as we know them now, and found the blades. And then we have the third Akaviri invasion, which basically just pillages Morrowind, Skyrim, and Blackmarsh for no good reason. One other interesting thing, there's like one line in the history of the Blades, or no, Rise and Fall of the Blades, which, depending on how you interpret it or not, again, this could be completely wrong, but it actually sounds like there might have been diplomatic contact in between Akavir and Tamriel, like amongst the Dragon Guard. So, yeah, we have seemingly crazy hostile continent and really culturally advanced, enlightened intellectual continent, and really crazy angry continent again. And this really brings up the entire question of just what the Tzeki are. Again, yeah, it's interesting to speculate. And again, the whole Pale Past Ghost thing, they appear humanoid, not serpent, but then why all the talk about serpents? that could be a language thing, it could be propaganda, and I've kind of reached the point where you could just speculate endlessly. So, yeah, I think I'll call it a day right here because I've basically given you all the facts I have and have stretched everything else out into a, wow, abnormally long episode. So, I'm the Loopy Alchemist. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and be sure to tell me your opinion in the comments.